The emergency klaxons pierced through the serene atmosphere of Zenith Academy, their shrill wails echoing across the pristine corridors where beings from 17 different star systems came to study interstellar diplomacy. Professor Kethavar's 6 eyes dilated in terror as she herded her students, a mix of crystalline Velthians, gaseous Nephrites, and chitinous Zephyrians, toward the reinforced shelter chambers. "Code Crimson! Code Crimson!" The Academy's AI announced in its perpetually calm tone that now seemed horrifically inappropriate. "Apex Predator breach in Sector 7. All personnel evacuate immediately." Through the transparent aluminum viewing panels, Kethavar glimpsed the source of chaos. A shadow maw, one of the galaxy's most feared apex predators. Standing nearly 4 meters tall on its hind legs, the beast possessed a midnight black hide that seemed to absorb light itself, razor-sharp, claws that could shred starship hull plating, and bioluminescent strips along its spine that pulsed with an ominous blue glow. Its elongated skull housed a maw filled with teeth designed to crush even the hardest exoskeletons, while its 6 legs moved with the fluid grace of a perfect killing machine. The creature had somehow breached the Academy's legendary security systems: force fields that could repel photon torpedoes, automated turrets loaded with plasma rounds, and sensor arrays that could detect a single bacterium from orbit. Yet here it prowled through the corridors as if they were mere suggestions, its predatory gaze sweeping left and right as it searched for prey. Students screamed in 17 different languages as they scrambled for safety. The Velthians' crystalline forms chimed in harmonious terror, while the Nephrites' gaseous bodies fluctuated between states of matter in panic. Even the typically stoic Zephyrians clicked their mandibles in distress. That's when Marcus Chen rounded the corner. The human strolled down corridor C7 with the casual gait of someone heading to grab coffee between lectures, a worn leather satchel slung over his shoulder, and a protein bar halfway to his mouth. His dark hair was disheveled from sleep, and his academy uniform bore the wrinkles of someone who had chosen an extra 10 minutes in bed over proper grooming. The shadow maw froze. Here was prey, soft, pink, bipedal, and apparently oblivious to the danger. The predator's bioluminescent strips flared brighter as it shifted into hunting posture, muscles coiling like industrial springs. Its 6 eyes fixed on the human with the focus of a weapons targeting system. Marcus looked up from his protein. Bar noticed the massive apex predator blocking his path to advanced quantum mechanics and paused. "Oh, hey there," he said conversationally, as if greeting a neighbor's dog. "You look hungry." Without breaking stride, Marcus reached into his satchel and withdrew what appeared to be a standard military MRE, meal ready to eat. The drab brown package bore the faded logo of the Terran Colonial Marines and warning labels in 6 languages about proper heating procedures. "Here you go, buddy," Marcus said, lobbing the MRE in a gentle arc toward the shadow maw. The package landed with a soft thud near the creature's front paws. The shadow maw stared at the offering, then at the human, then back at the offering. Its predatory instincts warred with confusion. This was unprecedented. Prey didn't offer gifts. Prey ran, screamed, or fought. Prey didn't casually toss food like feeding a pet. Marcus resumed walking, giving the creature a wide berth but showing no signs of fear or aggression. "The chili mac isn't bad if you can figure out the heating element," he commented helpfully as he passed. "Though you probably don't need to cook it, sharp teeth and all." The shadow maw's head swiveled to track the human's movement, but it remained frozen in place. Its neural pathways, evolved over millions of years to process fight-or-flight responses, simply couldn't categorize this behavior. The human's scent carried no fear pheromones, no adrenaline markers, no indication of threat or submission, just mild sleepiness and the lingering aroma of synthetic caffeine. From the shelter chambers, hundreds of beings watched in stunned silence as the human continued his leisurely stroll past certain death. Professor Kethavar's vocal cords refused to function, producing only a strangled whisper. "Impossible." Marcus paused at the corridor's end and glanced back. The shadow maw had cautiously approached the MRE and was sniffing it with olfactory sensors, sensitive enough to detect chemical compositions at the molecular level. "Fair warning," Marcus called over his shoulder. The crackers are harder than starship armor, nearly broke a tooth on those myself. And then he was gone, disappearing around the corner toward the lecture halls, leaving behind only the echo of his footsteps and the faint tune he'd started humming, something ancient from Earth called Here Comes the Sun. The shadow moss stared at the empty corridor for a full 30 seconds. Then, with movements almost too quick to follow, it tore open the MRE package and devoured the contents in 3 efficient bites. The creature's bioluminescent strips dimmed to a soft, almost contented glow. It began following the human scent trail. Not hunting. Following. Professor Kethvar later filed a report with the Galactic Security Council that would become the subject of decades of academic debate. The surveillance footage was analyzed by xenobiologists, psychologists, and military strategists from across known space. The incident sparked 3 new fields of study: human behavioral paradox theory, predator-prey dynamic disruption, and what scholars eventually termed anthropomorphic pacification syndrome. But none of them understood what Marcus knew instinctively: a truth buried in humanity's own evolutionary memory of coexisting with wolves, tigers, and bears. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do to a predator is refuse to be prey. The shadow maw was eventually found 3 hours later, sitting outside lecture hall B12 like a massive, nightmarish guard dog. When security teams arrived, it made no aggressive moves. It simply waited, occasionally glancing at the door through which its strange benefactor had disappeared. Marcus emerged from his quantum mechanics class to find 17 different news crews, 4 military commanders, and 1 very patient apex predator waiting for him. Really? He sighed, looking at the assembled crowd. Then he glanced at the shadow maw, who had begun a low, rumbling sound that xenobiologists would later classify as the species equivalent of purring. Marcus reached into his satchel and pulled out another MRE. "Come on then," he said to his new shadow. "But you're not coming to interspecies relations. Professor Veltar still hasn't forgiven me for the incident with the Andromedan ambassador." As human and apex predator walked away together, one humming ancient Earth melodies, the other producing subsonic purrs that made nearby students' teeth ache, the galaxy learned its first lesson about humanity's newest representatives. They didn't see monsters. They saw individuals who just needed a snack and some basic courtesy, and somehow that made them far more terrifying than any weapon ever could.